Think Realty Nation, it's your host, Abhi Golhar. Welcome to the Think Realty podcast. I have an awesome show for you today. It's not often where we have a guest open up and talk about his story and, of course, how to build a business. Keep in mind, we're in the process of building a real estate business, not a real estate job for ourselves long term. And, we don't talk about that as often as I would like to on the show. We do talk about economics, trends, investing trends, strategies, what you could do better as an investor. But one of the things that you can do better is to think about your business as a business and not over 40 or 50 or 60 years build a job for yourself, which is where a lot of investors tend to land. So my guest today is Danny Johnson. I'm excited to have him on in just a second, but I can't do the show without the help of our sponsors. Today's sponsor is Residential Capital Partners. Our Residential Capital Partners is a leading private lender in the single-family rehab and rental industry. ResCap operates on a national scope while maintaining a local presence in key markets throughout the U.S. Learn more at www.rescappartners.com. The 100% funding difference balance sheet lender. ResCapPartners.com. Welcome to the show, man. Good to see you again. How are you?
Thanks for having me, Abby. It's good to see you too.
Likewise. So give us a little background. Who are you? What do you do?
All right. So Danny Johnson, been in the real estate business, wholesaling, flipping since 2003, and nearly 1,000 deals done in that amount of time. And probably have made most of the mistakes that are possible to be made in the business. And that's what, we were talking about sharing today was how many years it took for me to realize that really what I had done was built a job for myself. And I really was treating the business more as a hobby than a business. And what I mean by that is I found, myself in feast or famine where I'm wearing all the hats. I'm doing the marketing, I generate leads, I get deals, I work on getting those fixed up and on the market and sold. And then it's like, okay, well, now I got to get back to generating more leads so that I can get deals. And it's cyclical nature of the business where there's only so much a person can do. And it took 8 or 9 years, I think it was, to get to the point where I had to let go of this, the false beliefs that I had around building a business. Getting into the business, into real estate investing was a way to get freedom. And so in my mind, what that meant to me was with this, I can do what I want to do when I want to do it. And I think that there was a piece of me thinking, if I bring on people to help with that, then I now have responsibilities that I didn't necessarily want to have. The thought was, well, if we want to take a 2-month vacation, then I've got to manage the team while I'm gone. And I don't think I want to deal with that. But it took 8 to 9 years to get to the point where the pain of not having a team was greater than, any of these, perceptions that I had about running a business as a business with people helping me out.
What's the first step that you would take to put yourself on the right path? Like you're a pro investor. You've done it all. You've done many deals in your lifetime. You've seen the good, you've seen the bad, you've been through market trends, you've seen the ups, you've seen the downs, both economically and emotionally, because you and I both know that takes an emotional toll. It's why I have some gray hair, and I could see a little salt and pepper in yours too. How does one even recognize that they have to maybe trust some people, maybe build some systems, maybe do certain things, invest a little bit of time and maybe a little bit of money here so they can build a lifestyle around their business instead of their business building a lifestyle around themselves?
Yeah, that's all about shifting the mindset, right? The mindset that I had, with all those beliefs about what it was like to have a business and the amount of work that it would take. If I bring somebody on, I've got to train them. I've got to show them how to do it. I'm already busy trying to keep everything going. And that busyness can keep us trapped in that cycle that causes all the gray hair. And it feels like it's so much to juggle that if you stopped, everything was going to fall and it was going to fall apart. But as the transition was made to start hiring people, it felt so good. Like it felt like the true freedom, that we were setting out to create when we started the real estate investing. And, I just wish I had done it sooner. And I'd seen other people, I'd seen examples of other people, I had friends that had done it. but still I felt like maybe I wasn't capable of it. Maybe, I had to shift that mindset completely because I guess, coming from a background when I was in corporate America right after college, I was a horrible employee. So maybe I felt like if I hired people, they were going to be horrible employees too, but that's not really the case. I loved how things transitioned from, everything being in my head, to written processes and bringing people on and then measuring everything. We just talked about that before the show, measuring, what was going on in the business and taking a look at it. That became so much fun because it did create some predictability. It showed consistency. And when you look at data and trends over time in your own business, it takes away some of that fear of the unknown of what's going to come next. You're really seeing the trend, and so you're not so concerned with, running from fear of not really knowing what's going on. Like, that you've got so many leads coming in, but if you're not digging in deeper to the quality of leads, what you're doing with those leads, you and your team, after you get the leads to see what's happening, where a ball might be being dropped, whether that's, appointments being canceled by the seller or you and not following up. That's such a huge one. So many people are not consistent at all with follow-up. But when you start to measure these things and treat the business like a business, it does become fun. It became a renewed excitement for me. And it just made it so much easier to trust other people because we had written processes in place. And they were actually improving those processes. And it's like, wow, I should have done this so much sooner because, collectively, the sum of all of us are greater, whatever the phrase is,
Yeah.
everybody together is greater than the sum of the parts.
Yeah.
And, that really turned out to be true.
There's another, what's the other phrase? Two birds in the bush are better than three in the hand. What is that? I don't know. That probably has no relevance.
Two in the bush better than one in, one in the hand better than two in the bush.
That one, which also I'm trying to fit into this conversation, but I think I just did a really bad job at it. Dude, but I hear you. Like, I understand the problem of I've got to run after new leads all the time because that's where the money is and that's where the conversation needs to be had. But I'm so busy over here running after new leads, and because I'm one person, as an example of what you're saying, because I'm one person, I'm so busy over here finding new leads, that I'm totally dropping the ball with the existing leads, and I have no system on follow-up. Because my job every single day, say as a wholesaler or a flipper or a land guy or gal, is like, got to keep talking to new people. And all my coaches, all the gurus out there are saying, well, if I don't talk to new people on a regular basis, I'm going to not have business.
Right.
But that isn't true. The problem is that ultimately can only turn into 20 or 30% of your 30% of your activity because you're so busy building the relationship 70 to 80% of the time. And you could spend 80% of your activity here, drop the ball on every lead that's happening, and you'll find yourself spending more time, more money, more energy, losing hair, and not finding the business. And so, I mean, Danny, I huge respect for recognizing that challenge and taking that through to the finish line, which is why you came up with Forefront CRM. I had the opportunity to kind of tinker around with it, and dude, awesome job. So talk about that for a second, and I've got maybe a couple of questions about your CRM for you.
Yeah, for sure. The Forefront CRM came about as an evolution of the software that I've been creating since, even starting in this business. And that was my background before getting into real estate investing with software. And so I always knew I needed something to help me track the notebook, because the first year using a actual notebook, paper didn't work out so hot. And so having that system, basically creating a system where we're focusing on when you bring a lead in, doing everything possible to help you turn that into a deal. That's the whole focus of this whole platform. A CRM, can do a lot of different things. You can put a lot of bells and whistles on it. But at the end of the day, it's to track the leads and do follow-up for you and make your life easier. And so everything that we've built into this, whenever we look at adding a new feature, we weigh it against other features by looking at what is the impact on, a forefront CRM client's business with this feature. Is this going to move the needle in terms of converting a lead into a deal? Because that's the whole, part that was missing when you're so focused on just lead generation. You can find out that if you really improve your business, that you don't need as many leads. And so it gives you more time, frees up your time to do more work on the business, which is exponentially better than generating more leads, because all you're doing is the same thing over and over, just harder, right? Yeah. But if you're improving the business, you don't have to work as hard. It gives you more time to then improve the business more, and it just compounds to where you build more time for you and your team because you're operating so efficiently. And one of the things, I know we don't have a whole lot of time, so I want to focus on the data, the tracking of data in the system, because that's how how the pulse of your business.
Yep.
We have several views where we have KPIs where you can look at a trend week to week, so you know where things are trending on number of leads, number of appointments, number of offers made, deals closed, all that kind of stuff. And you can look at it per campaign, which is a huge, huge, huge deal, because not all marketing campaigns are created equally.
So,
right? And so you get to look at, wow, I need to double down on this one, and this one just needs to be cut out.
So hang on for me. You're saying campaign, and you're saying leads, and you're saying a bunch of these words that maybe some viewers just don't recognize, or they don't know. And frankly, when they think about CRMs and they think about like different stages, they're like, what the heck is Danny talking about? Can you just maybe break that down? Like, explain it to me like I'm in fourth grade. Like you said, campaign, stages, leads.
Yeah, sure. So if you're, like the history of my business was, when we started marketing to motivated sellers, we got so much better deals. Quality of deals was much better than trying to find deals on MLS or listed with agents. And so we've always focused on motivated seller marketing. You can have different campaigns in different channels, like, direct mail. I'm sure you've heard about direct mail. Well, maybe not if you're in the fourth grade, but sending letters out to people saying you'd like to make a cash offer on your house, getting lists for different motivations, like they're past due on their property taxes, or have co-compliance complaints against their property, stuff like that. You could also do online marketing. You can do PPC, pay-per-click marketing, which is, on Google. When you see those ads on Google, those are pay-per-click marketing ads. So those are different ways to reach the seller. And so those are different campaigns. And, the temptation can be to, well, let me just do as many campaigns as possible, but that's not good. The biggest investors in the country that I've been friends with for a long time, not all of them, but some of them, when I look at how they've done it, they've become experts at 1, 2, or 3, usually tops, different channels of generating their leads. They don't do 50 different things to bring leads in, right? In order to find out what you like and what works for you individually in your market and for your personality and what you like to do and what your team likes to do, it's tracking to see what's working and then making that better and spending your time improving that in that one area. So PPC, improving that in PPC, or direct mail, dialing in your direct mail. But how do you know whether you're improving or not? And that's just by tracking the numbers over time.
Right. And that's the difference, right? That's the difference between spending all your time in the business and running after new leads. And this is, and keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this is common across not just the real estate business, right? This is common across any business that has leads. And guess what? Your business has leads. Your business has prospects. And if you're dropping the ball and you're not paying attention to the KPIs and you're not measuring your key performance indicators on the source of lead, who's closing the lead. So let me paint you a picture. If your lead source is, say, Google Ads or Google PPC, as Danny mentioned, and let's say you have a member of your team that's responsible, or you have 2 members of your team that's responsible for calling on those Google Ads. And you find that you've got Sally. John is doing not such a good job. John closes maybe 2 out of 10 leads, but Sally closes 8 out of 10 leads. You know what that means? That means that John needs more training, or he just doesn't care enough. You wouldn't have been able to find that without measuring it, because what doesn't get measured doesn't get acted on, which means no more improvements in your business, which means less dollars in your bank account. Danny, I could talk about this all day because this is my world, bro. Like, I love the fact that you designed your no lead left behind system on forefrontcrm.com, because it is such a huge freaking deal for real estate investors. Y'all just don't even know. What Danny's designed is next level, next gen stuff. So, man, like I said, we're going to be talking about this all day. Give me 30 seconds on your framework, your no lead left behind framework, because I think it is just an incredible tool for anybody to use. And do I get to sign up for free on your system?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can try it free for 14 days for sure. And since we're friends, of course, I'd give you more.
I
But
appreciate that.
yeah, but it is free to try for 14 days. The No Lead Left Behind framework is a framework that I put together that pulls in all the stuff that we've learned about improving the pieces of the funnel, from when that lead comes in to getting the deal, and then doing all the things possible throughout that funnel to make sure that nothing falls out, right? You're converting more of those leads into deals, and it's a framework to show you, where to look in your business and then what to do to fix the problems in the funnel to turn more leads into deals. And you can download that for free if you go to forefrontcrm.com/no lead left behind. forefrontcrm.com/no lead left behind. You can get that free.
Excellent. Danny, thanks so much for the time. We need to have you back and talk more about some of the KPIs that someone in their business can measure. And maybe next time we can even do like a screen share as an example. I think that would be so
really
clutch.
cool.
Would be so cool. Because it's one thing to talk about it. I think it's another thing, because I'm a very big visual learner, and I would love to see maybe what a stepped out stage looks like and how a campaign could be run through Forefront. So we'll do that next time.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool, bro. Thanks a lot, Danny. Certainly appreciate the time.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. See ya. Think Realty Nation, our next segment is brought to you by Realty Track. Realty Track is the leading source of foreclosure data for real estate investors and real estate agents. Receive the most up-to-date and trusted database of foreclosures, bank-owned properties, MLS listings, auctions, and short sales. Analyze property insights with comprehensive data with unlimited saved searches and no need to pay per record fees. Visit www.realtytrack.com today to get started. I remember at the beginning of my real estate investing career, I was always told you have to find a real estate-minded agent. How do you find a real estate agent that thinks like an investor? I'm sorry, I meant to say an investor-minded real estate agent. That's what I meant to say. How do you find one? Well, on thinkrealty.com, Andrew Sirios wrote an article about exactly how you can do such a thing. Why is this important? Because most real estate agents don't necessarily have their investor kind of hat turned on. They're not wearing that hat most of the time. They're thinking about, how do I serve a homeowner that wants to sell their home, or how do I serve a home buyer that is interested in buying a home? An investor-minded agent, if you find one and when you find one, you want to hold out to that person and never let go. They could be one of the biggest, most valuable assets on your team. So, first and foremost, what do you look for in terms of an agent that thinks like an investor? Well, do they understand ARV? Are they looking at renovation? Like, what would it mean if you renovated the property? How much more could you sell it for? In this article, Andrew says, quote, even as a more experienced investor, it's nice to get a second set of eyes on things and compare what he thinks the rehab expenses will likely be to another with experience in this area. So if your real estate agent says, well, what you really need to do in this neighborhood is invest more in the bathroom, or invest more in the living room, or invest more in the master bedroom, they are starting to show signs of thinking like an investor. I think something else that you could do is check out, say, activerain.com, for example. They've got a bunch of different agents that are advertising their services, and you can easily weed out the ones that are homeowner-minded. Their messaging is different. Their messaging is hey, I can help you sell your home in 45 days or 30 days or 7 days, etc. The ones you want to pay attention to are the ones where the messaging is slightly different. And you might even find folks that say, I work with investors. If you want to help, if you're looking for your next property in this area and its value could be this much more, get in touch with me. That kind of messaging is different than somebody that is homeowner minded. Check out those types of folks, whether it's on Zillow, Redfin, or in this case, Andrew mentions ActiveRain.com as an example. The other thing that you should do is interview them. And in an interview, you'll really quickly find and weed out who's up to snuff. Couple of example questions that you can ask. Have you worked with investors before? What do you think an investment looks like? How would you go about finding an investment property? Or, I'm in the fix and flip game. Where should I look for up-and-coming areas, up-and-coming neighborhoods? Do you have any contacts at the city or the county that I can get in touch with to help me point myself in the right direction, or help my team point ourselves in the right direction for the next opportunity? These are questions that an investment-minded real estate agent can answer. Okay, that's the show. You got any questions, head on over to thinkrealty.com. Get in touch with us. We're here to answer your questions. It's exactly what we do. Make sure that you check out the thinkrealty.com/Baltimore. Why? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. We have a Think Realty Conference and Expo. It's a hybrid conference and expo, live and virtual, where you get to meet some awesome real estate investing pros. I'm going to be there. Many of my friends will be there too. So you want to come out, shake some hands, or bump some elbows, you can also attend virtually. Go to thinkrealty.com/Baltimore, and you get a 2-for-1 deal. Type in the code podcast. So you want to buy 2 tickets, type in the code podcast, you get 1 for free, and attend that conference. Today's sponsor is Residential Capital Partners. Our Residential Capital Partners is a leading private lender in the single-family rehab and rental industry. ResCap operates on a national scope while maintaining a local presence in key markets throughout the U.S. Learn more at www.rescappartners.com. The 100% funding difference balance sheet lender. rescappartners.com. That show's a wrap. Thanks, guys. I certainly appreciate you listening. And until next time, happy investing.